Hi there. Thanks for purchasing my gig. I am Angela with Reach Absolute, and I am happy to give you an evaluation today. Okay, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to take a look at is your logo. It conveys a sense of trust with the check mark, which is great. That's one of the most important things when you're trying to convince people to do what you want them to do on your website. You want to build trust, and I really like the graphic. The only thing is that this text is really small. It kind of feels like an afterthought down here. What I would suggest is moving it over. That is more so the standard location. You would see the name of a business. So you would keep the graphic and then move the text over. And of course, make it larger because it's a bit small. But overall, the logo graphic itself is very professional and it's well done. All right, next let's take a look at your navigation. It looks like you have some basic items here. A couple things that I don't see are about. That's a trust building section of most websites where people get a sense of who is behind the business. And I know it seems arbitrary sometimes, but for visitors, for potential customers, it is important to build that trust and to be transparent as much as you feel comfortable doing so. Having some kind of an about section would be very compelling. The other thing I don't see is contact, but I'm guessing this probably goes to a contact form. Oh, it looks like this is the contact form. Well, I still would advise, because this is your lead collection form, I would still advise having an actual contact section or a contact form and then adding those links up here. You could make the text a little bit smaller in order to fit those in without it seeming like it's taking over the entire bar here, and maybe minimize the spacing a little bit between each one. That's what I would add. Those are the two main things that I see are missing. And both of those things would be adding a sense of trust, having a very obvious way for people to contact you with questions or anything like that is a good idea, especially if they're not quite ready to do this yet. Okay, let's move on to the hero section, and that is this section here. It's anything above the fold, which is everything that you see before you have to scroll. I really like the graphic that you have back here. Obviously, this blinking arrow got my attention, which is a good thing. I like that this text is clear and easy to read. It's large. I see a lot of websites where the text is too small. I'm glad that this is nice and large. My only concern with this text would just be SEO. You mentioned that you would be focusing your marketing efforts on advertisements more so than relying on search engine optimization to get you seen. If you are interested in SEO, keyword research should be done to find the best term to make you rank better in search engines. You mentioned a video. Normally, I would see a video right here, but let's look for the video as we're going down, and we'll just look at this right now. The form looks really good. The text is grammatically correct. Everything here is great. It's very clean, nice form. I love the green. It's attention getting. You're using color strategically. Whoever designed this site definitely knew about marketing psychology to some extent, which is great. Okay, I think there is maybe just a little bit too much space between this header and here. And the reason why I'm saying that is when people are scrolling, most people, when they visit a website, it's about 2 seconds you have to convince them before they click off. And if they do decide to scroll, you want them to see something a little bit sooner here. So when I do this, it looks like it's almost blank until I get to the how it works. So I would probably move this up just a little bit. I am a fan of white space, but as far as your first heading here, I would probably move that up. And I really like the description text you have here. I think this is compelling and it's well worded. I really like that you laid out these steps like this. I will say it is a little bit hard to read this text here just because it's so fine. I would consider just increasing the weight of the word step. I like the stylistic choice that you've used to make these bold. I wouldn't increase the weight on this text too much. You still want the stylistic difference, but I would increase it just a little bit just to make it a little easier to read. And I would probably also capitalize the letter S here. It just looks a little bit more professional. Okay, I just read this. This is great. The only thing is, if you notice here, this is the longest bit of text, then this one is a little bit, and then it gets shorter. It kind of looks a little imbalanced. I know these are nitpicky things. It's just, I try to make things look balanced and it's pleasing to the eye. I would probably just omit this text. I don't think you need it there. And this would be just about the same level. The other thing is, obviously, details hangs over here. I would probably shorten this text a bit, maybe just say submit your details, and then it would all fit on one line and it wouldn't drop this down. It would just look a little bit more clean and professional. Also, for step number 2 here, I think this is a bit long and awkward, and depending on the screen, this probably also would drop down. I have a wider screen than some people might have, so I would probably just rework this a little bit as well to make it a little shorter. Get your cash offer. Yeah, get your cash offer. That would be shorter than this for sure. And then I really like this text here. I think that's great. And something about this just feels a little awkward to me. I'm not sure. And I like the concept, but maybe consider reworking these words. Maybe something more customer driven, like boost your home's value. You want to try to think of things as a benefit to the customer. That's what's going to help convince them that and building trust. So I would probably just rework this title a little bit. And as far as the text goes, you could try to make it a little bit longer so it balances out. It would be ideal to have 4 lines for each of these. If you can pad this out a little bit to get the 4 lines, that would be lovely. And as far as that goes, also, this is really short. I would be a little bit more detailed with this section here. Maybe say something about how the profits are shared, or after the sale of the home, we share the profits with you. And then also maybe make this more customer focused. Even though this is what you're doing, you might want to say something more customer driven, like collect your profits. And then in here, you can say we share the profits with you after the sale of your home, et cetera, et cetera. And maybe try to keep that 4 lines as well by adding in a little bit of details about the profit sharing or more about the process. For example, do you guys have your own real estate agents? How does that work when you're selling the house? That kind of stuff. Those are the questions in my mind. Oh, and by the way, I actually have a client who does something similar to what you guys are doing. It's not quite the same though. They do fix up houses for people, and then basically the people pay them out of the sale of the home, so they don't actually take profits. Okay, let's take a look at the video here. Okay, I think it is a great video and it's very clear what you do. I think having a video like this is one of the best things that you can do to build some trust and explain the process to people. I would probably put this much higher on the page. I think I mentioned that. People need warming up before they take an action, and this video is a really good way of warming people up. I would probably resize this text a bit and then put the video here, keep the arrow pointing to the video, and then I would do a call to action button right here for get cash offer. And I would probably drop this form down lower on the page. Obviously, you don't have to do all of that. It's a bit of work if you're not, building this yourself. You could do split testing. You could have 2 versions of the page done and then split test and see which one does better. But in my experience, warming people up with the explanation right away is a great way to go. And also, people tend to be a bit lazy. And I always feel bad saying that, but people do, and they don't want to read things. And having that video there is perfect for people who don't want to read and just want to get the gist really quick. So that's why I would move the video. But I think the video is amazing. Okay, it looks like this text is a little bit pinched in, just kind of comparing to some of the other sections that are wider on the website, especially, yeah, this part of it. I would probably widen this a bit. Still leave some good margins, but it would look a little less pinched. And then I would probably put some kind of graphic in here. That's obviously aesthetic, but people, they need visual interest a little bit more. And I think that would make it a little bit more interesting and compelling. Okay. I really like the testimonial section. A lot of people miss having testimonials on their website. It's so important to have them. My only suggestion would just be this text for the name is pretty small. I would probably make it a little bit larger. And if you can do photos of these people or even royalty-free photos, just make sure they're real testimonial. The FTC has issues with fake reviews and testimonials. So just make sure that the testimonials are real, even if the pictures are maybe just royalty-free people pics. Yeah, that would be my only suggestions here. Just make the font bigger. But other than that, this looks great. I love that it's a slider and it's dynamic and it moves. Okay, and it looks like this is the end of the website. You have a call to action bar, which you've got to have a call to action bar in almost every website. I can't think of very many where you shouldn't have one. And this looks great. This section would be a really great section if you left or did this. You can remove this and you could put your form right here. That would look really good. And that is if you move the video to the top, of course. That would work perfectly well. And then I notice you don't have an actual footer here. So I have some suggestions. Obviously, I'm sure you know that legal pages like privacy policy and terms and conditions, those help protect you and your business. So I would highly recommend putting those links down here in your footer. Also, I noticed there's no back to top button here. That's really helpful to have in case people want to get back to the top of the page really quick. And something else that's really valuable to have in your footer is quick links to the other sections of the web page, just reiterating and making it really easy for people to navigate back to those sections. I would put how it works, process testimonials, get cash offer. I would put, well, get cash offer you may not need if you move the form right here. But yeah, I would put those down here in the footer. It just makes it easier for people to navigate and review if they need to any other sections. And I would highly recommend, like I said, adding an about section with a little information about who's behind this company, maybe a photo of your team, something to help build more trust so that people can get a sense of who's behind this. That is so important. The trust building, it's really important. And it also helps make you stand out because people ultimately decide to do business with people, not always just a faceless business on the internet. And to add on that, I would highly recommend doing some kind of contact page. And I know having a one-page simple website is nice. However, having a contact page would be great because some people are not always ready to dive in right away and they might have questions for you. So that's something I would heavily consider. Also, if you have any social media platforms, you could put those links down in the footer as well. That would be a great place for them. In addition to that, more trust building would be to put links to other platforms where you have good reviews of your company, Yelp, Google, the Better Business Bureau, Angie's List, just to name a few options. But by basically having those, you would then be giving external validation for the testimonials on your website as well, which is really important for building trust. And if you don't have external reviews, then I would definitely try to get some. So you put links to those platforms on your footer as well. It's really good to have a nice built out footer. It makes a business look a little bit more legitimate. Something else would be a FAQ having FAQ questions is really great with any commonly asked questions, any questions that you can think of that people might have for you, like if we do this and we share the profits, is it a 50-50 split? That kind of stuff. Basically, as much transparency as you can offer people on here to build trust is recommended. And don't worry about it making the page longer. There's a mile long page, but FAQ sections are really great. And you could do an accordion style FAQ. That way it doesn't take up so much room. People just see the questions, they click on the question, and then it opens up and shows the answer to the question. That way it wouldn't be super long. I would probably put that right above this section here. And another thing, and this might be something you do soon in the future, is add accessibility options for people who have disabilities. I've heard some not so good stories. So I just want to mention that so you guys can cover yourselves and not have any legal issues at all. I suggest this to pretty much everyone who does not have this, and that is to add a lead magnet capture option somewhere on your website for people who aren't quite ready to dive in and do this, or people who want to keep you in mind. They might want to sign up for something, they might want to get more information, and having some way for them to just sign up with a name and an email address would be great. And then you guys are building a list of people that you can reach out to and market to over and over again in exchange for giving them something useful. So that would be a lead magnet. You could do a quiz. Does your home need fixing up? Something like that. Maybe an ebook. Ebooks are great. Top 10 selling tips for selling your home as it currently is. And then list your top 10 tips, but then plug your business at the end, of course, and say, you could do all of this, or you could fix your home up and get way more money when you sell with us. Anyway, those are just some extra suggestions of things that you could incorporate. I always encourage everyone to collect names and email addresses in some regard. It's always important to build a marketable list. Another thing that you guys might want to consider is offering referral incentives. I think a lot of people know someone whose house needs to be fixed up. So if they refer somebody to you and they go ahead and go through with it, then maybe the person who referred them could get a cut of the profits. That would be something to consider. Maybe even referral for real estate agents. A lot of real estate agents find clients who need help fixing up their homes. So that would be a good source of referrals. And of course, they should get something in exchange for referring their clients to you guys. So those are just some suggestions to really boost this up and make it as successful as possible. And I just want to say, I did not see any grammar or spelling errors anywhere on the website. Everything looked good in terms of that. This website is actually quite well designed. There's just a few tweaks that need to be done. So you should feel great about the fact that it's been so well done. And it won't take much to really bring it up to its maximum potential. Okay, so that is it for the evaluation. And I just wanted to thank you again for choosing me. It makes such a difference to me as a small business, especially starting out on Fiverr and trying to build a good reputation on there. And that's why if you found this helpful and you benefited from it, I would be so grateful if you could leave me a review reflecting your experience. It really, really helps me out. I'm always happy to answer any questions you have. So if there's anything at all that you want clarification on, please feel free to reach out. I hope you have a very good day. Thank you again.